You are listening to the Bloom Where You Are Planted podcast. I am your host, Gray Tam. I've created this show for you to gain insight and inspiration from some of the amazing people I've met in my life and through my business, Simply Gray Photography. I hope you enjoy meeting these people as much as I have. Enjoy our show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of Bloom Where You're Planted. I'm your host, Gray Tam. Today, we will be speaking with the amazing Sherri Dumbrell. We will be talking about, and I love this one, Sherri, if you don't ask, the answer is always no, so just ask. So let me tell you a little bit about Sherri before we start. Sherri is firstly a woman over 50. She is part of our 50 and Wiser Club. Then she's a wife. She's a mother and a grandmother. And on top of all of that, she still manages to be a successful business owner of Essential Spending Planner. Now, Sherri is loving her 50s. Sherri, you tell us, how old are you?
I'm going to be 58.
You're going to be 58. Wow. You're loving your 50s and she's looking fabulous. And I'm so excited, Sherri, you've been part of our book and everything. And let me tell just our audience before we get started a little bit about also what you love to do. So Sherri loves to give back to her community that helped her raise her 5 children. 5 children. Like when you told me that, Sherri, I was just blown away. I thought I was doing it tough with the 3 children, but 5 children. She's passionate about learning skills. And what I love is Sherri loves not only learning new skills, but then passing them on to others, which is so important. And I have to tell you, Sherri's also a fellow American. So a fellow American Aussie girl. So we'll be using our twangs today and talking to you guys. And yeah, I'm just so excited, Sherri, for you to come on and share your wisdom with us. So thank you so much. Are you ready to get started?
I am.
Okay. Great. Okay. So Sherri, first off, I know you told me when I interviewed you for the book, but what I really love about this podcast is now you get to say, people hear you and your words. Tell us a bit about your story, why you do now what you do, and what makes you so passionate about what you do.
I've always liked to better myself. I love self-improvement and learning things. I'm continually learning. And I don't think you're at any age you need to stop learning, And so, but when I learn, I get so excited at what I learned that I have to tell my family, my friends, anybody who will listen to me. And so people know me as, being quite passionate about my newest hobby or project. And so, yeah, and I'm also passionate about my business because there's a lot of people who are financially hurting. And luckily, we didn't financially hurt because we had a spending plan and we were honest with it and kept to it. But so many people are hurting. And so I'm passionate about taking that hurt. It's so easy to take it away if they just know.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Well, you know what? We will talk a little bit about what you do and what it is to be, because most people might not know what a spending planner is. Before we get to that, though, we did talk. Because I ask everybody who comes on the podcast, what do you think we should call the podcast? So, and I really, this one really I really like this. You said if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So just ask. Tell me a bit about that. Like, what's your inspiration behind that? And why do you feel that's important for our listeners to really listen to that advice?
Yeah, I think as we grew up, and for me, I was a very shy child, extremely shy. And so, of course, I wasn't going to ask anything, And as I got older, and we become more wise, we realized that people who were successful, it's because one, they applied themselves, but they asked questions. And so I was always the one in school asking questions, and where other kids wouldn't ask. And I just thought, no, I need to ask questions because that's how I learned. And so even though some of my friends would laugh at me because I'd ask a stupid, and I was quite naive quite stupid question, but at least I got the answer. Sometimes I got laughed at. And then when I started my business 8 years ago, that's when I really learned, hey, okay, I was with other people, rubbing shoulders with other people that were a lot farther along in the journey than I was. And I kind of thought, hey, I can ask them. I mentor people. Why can't I ask them? And so I just got the courage to just ask. And I would write letters to popular, really high up people and just ask. And most of the time it came back, yes. And so that just gave me the drive that, hey, anything in life, you're not going to get it if you don't ask. And this life is a journey with other people. It's not just about you. So we need to ask other people to help you on your journey. And yeah, and so, one thing I tell people about in my business, I tell them to call all your providers and ask for a better deal. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to say yes. But if you don't ask, the answer is no. So yeah, it just opens up your life and gives you more opportunities because you believe in yourself.
I really like that, because even the other day you asked me a question. Unfortunately, you can't be at our launch, but you said, can you send me the book ahead of time? I know you said you can't. I just have to ask. And I said, well, when I can, I will. So you're right, because if you don't, people don't know, people can't read our mind. I think we get so inside, so afraid to ask and think, well, why don't they just know? So let me ask you this. I know this wasn't one of my questions, but when you kind of are a little afraid, what helps you put on those big girl pants to ask those questions? What do you just kind of what do you say to yourself? Or do you have any advice to our listeners of how they get that brave courage?
There's no time to not ask the question. That once I hit 50, I realized, okay, there's no more procrastination. I don't have the years to procrastinate anymore. If I'm going to do something, I need to do it now. And so that's what's in my back of my mind to say, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. So ask now.
That's good advice. You don't have to be 50 for that advice, do you?
No, you don't. Oh, you don't. But it really hit me at that point because I tended to be a procrastinator where now I don't.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. Yeah, I really like that. All right. So listeners, seriously, if you don't ask, it's never going to happen. So just ask. And I've learned that a lot too, because planning this exhibit, I've gotten really good at asking for help. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, thank you so much for that reminder. That's really good. So now another thing that you talked to me about was reframing past events in your life for the good. You can do it, just give it a go. What inspired that thought? And can you tell us a little bit more about what you were thinking about when you mentioned that to me?
Yeah, when I was young and went to high school in the States, you probably recognize the word ACT.
Yep.
Test, or the test that we had to take before we left school, and it gave us a number. And it's the opposite of the Australians. The Australians, if you get a 1, that's really good. Where in America, if you got a 25, that's really good. Well, I did well in school, but didn't take chemistry, didn't take the real hard classes. But when I did that test, I got an 11. And that's a huge defining moment. It was like, and I knew I wanted to go to this university, and I knew you had to have a certain amount, and that was not going to cut it. And so I put a label, or I framed myself as I'm not smart enough to go to university. And then I went back and took the test and got a 12. So that even reconfirmed that frame that was me. I was too dumb. So I didn't go to school, university. I just got a job and then eventually got married. And then one day, my oldest daughter was graduating from the University of Queensland and was walking across the stage to get her diploma. And I thought, I want to do that. I was so jealous. I wanted to be that person. And immediately that voice said to me, Sherri, don't be you are stupid. You can't do that. And at that point, that was the moment, the defining moment, that I turned to that voice and I said, get out of here. I am not going to listen to you anymore. I am smart enough, even though I hadn't got a diploma at that point, but I thought, I believed in myself at that point that I could do it. And so I did. I, at 50, went back to university, and I got straight A's, as they say in America. I got top marks. And I thought, whoa, here for all those years, I had prevented myself telling me from that frame I had put because of that one test that I was not smart enough. And so I'm smart, but I can be smarter. I'm not, prideful. I can be smarter. And that's why I love to learn. And so we can reframe anything. If we have any event in the past that you still have negative emotions about towards other people or to yourself, go back to that time, kind of relive it in your head and reframe it. Put a new picture frame around that and make it a positive, because it's only hurting you by having the wrong frame around it. And so when I usually do a presentation, I have an actual frame that says you are dumb, and then another one that says you are smart, you can do it. And so, this life is to be enjoyed. Yes, there's bad things that happen, but with every bad thing, we can find a good frame to put around it of what we learned and how it made us stronger.
There's a lot of things about that I just absolutely love, Sherri. A, that you didn't let age stop you, because you said you were 50 when you did that. So that's amazing. And B, that you had that belief for that was a long period of time, and you were able to reframe it. And that is such amazing advice for all of us, no matter where we are in life, to reframe, that you were able to then say, no, I can do this. And you proved yourself that you could do that. You proved
it's
yourself.
Also things that happen immediately. You can be having, and you can all of a sudden feel your mind shift to be negative, or to, change your mindset right then. Just stop yourself and reframe it, because that's when you're framing an event or something someone say in the negative way. And so you learn to reframe things really quickly, so that you don't have to have 30 years pass by of lost opportunities.
Yeah, no, that is amazing wisdom, my dear. Thank you so much for sharing that here, because I don't know if we talked so much about that when we interviewed for the 50 and Wiser Club. So that I really like that. I love that frame. Like, that is just, that's like, even just the idea of, that frame and stuff. And boy, you have lucky children to have a mom like you, and all the people you work with. Do you work with a lot of younger people also?
Yeah, I have grade 12 come to me saying, can you teach me about money? Because I can tell I'm not being taught at school. And they want to be an adult. And that's one way to be an adult. And there's a lot of adults who aren't adults because they can't really manage their money, but they see that as one aspect of becoming an adult. So yeah.
Well, let's talk about that. That's a good segue, actually, after that great wisdom. So I love that. We've talked about some really good things. We can't be afraid to ask. And when things don't go our way, we need to reframe it so that we can, so we don't live in that negativeness. We go towards something for the better. But all right. So my dear, your title is Spending Planner. Tell me about that. What do you do for your clients? Are you planning their spending, or
yes,
do you go shopping for them? What do we do?
Oh, everyone does that quite well enough. So I'm a spending planner. My business is Essential Spending Planner, because it's essential that we all have a spending plan. Now, most people have budgets. I had a budget till 2003, so about 20 years ago, when I found the spending plan system. And doesn't that sound better anyway? A spending plan as well as a budget. Budget is very restricting. And so what I do, number one, is I'm a financial literacy educator. So I educate people about basic finances, which many people don't know.
Mm.
You know, I talk to people who don't understand interest on their credit card, or, you know, just lots of basic things. So I educate. Then I have a proven tool that I've used for over 20 years that goes beyond budgeting. And so a budget is two-dimensional. It's like a piece of paper, you know, income and expenses, but it's not alive. It's just, and then you have a three-dimensional, which is actually alive. We are three-dimensional. We're alive. And so a budget is just income and expenses. Says, yeah, you should be able to pay your bills, but it's guessing. There's no certainty. But a spending plan, you can, because they add in timing, the timing of your bills, the timing of your income, it's alive every day. It changes and stays alive. Then you can know for 100% clarity that you'll be able to pay for all your expenses in the next 12 months and up to 30 years, because you see your bank balances, you see everything in the future before it happens. And so it's like having your own crystal ball of your future finances, and then a GPS to direct you to do it. A budget is very heavy on tracking the past, and the past is the past. You can't change the past. I've never heard anyone say, oh, I wish I would have spent more money last year. It's always, I want to do better next year. And that's why I search for something better than the traditional budget, because I had a big why, and mine was to go home and visit my family as often as I wanted to.
Yeah.
And so I needed to find something that helped me save better. And so, yeah, a spending plan is conscious planning your spending, saving for it, and then spending. So I'm a happy spender because I've planned what I want, I've saved for it, and then I spend, which sadly is opposite to what consumerism says. They say, spend it and then worry about it and pay it later.
Yeah, that's true. No, but that's very smart. And, you know, you and I both know now that's more important than anything after COVID for multiple reasons. But also those flights back home are just crazy.
Yeah.
So congratulations on being able to go home next month. So yeah.
Yes. And that's my second time this year, because I automatically in my spending plan put a certain amount away, and it's not a big amount. People can easily blow that on their coffees for the month. Put it into an account so that I have a flight, you know, every 6 to 8 months, you know. Also in my business, I motivate people. So I actually hold their hand in creating their spending plan in the proven software I use. And then I motivate them. I celebrate with them. So if they make any win, big or little, for example, if they do lots of drive-throughs from fast food, and, you know, they then one time think about it, ooh, maybe I shouldn't, you know, and I'm that little voice in their head, which is good. At first, I want to be that voice in their head where they think, oh, no, Sherri wouldn't do that. Even if they go into that drive-through, they win, because at least they thought about it first. And then the next time they'll actually not go through that drive-through, and they'll use that money for things they really want, like the trip to America or a new home, whatever. And so I celebrate with them. And then most of all, I give accountability, because just because we're adults doesn't mean we follow our goals and things. So I'm there to help them set their goals, motivate them to keep that in mind, and then give them accountability and celebrate once any type of wins.
Wow. It sounds like everybody needs you in the back pocket.
They do. That's why it's called Essential Spending Planner, because it is essential. And I make money fun. People go from money stress to money success in just a few weeks.
Oh, how exciting. Do you have one tip that maybe you could share with our listeners that might be one thing? Maybe the coffee is the one thing, going out for the coffees, because, you know, especially us in Melbourne, we love going out for our coffees. But is there just kind of one thing that you find people like end up spending money on that they really don't need to?
It's impulse spending.
Huh?
We have impulse spending. So we have
Yep.
things we need. Then we have the things we really want, which is those big goals. Like for me, it's going home and seeing my family. Then there's the big area in the middle that's your wants, what you think you want. And that's where a lot of people waste their money, on what they think they want here and now. But if they spend that money, they're procrastinating or even eliminating what they really want. So it's long-term thinking. And that's what the whole spending plan is about. Let's look long-term and see what you want and plan accordingly. And so, yeah, you have to have a plan, then save, which the software does brilliantly, and then happily spend with no regrets.
Oh man, we all need you in pocket, because I tell you, with social media nowadays, that impulse spending is just so hard to get under control. So
yeah, and I even have a little card that I have people put in their pocket next to their credit, next to their card, that they have to read to see, go through, is this something that you really need, that you really want, or if it, and
yeah.
so just those little reminders.
Oh, that's really great. Oh, thank you so much for that. And before we finish this podcast, we will make sure we figure out how to find you and everything. But until we get there, I'm going to pull out our book, and I still haven't figured out how to get it to go through, but I'm going to get to your part,
Okay, how
Sherri.
exciting.
This is really exciting. So Sherri hasn't seen the book yet. She's only seen what I posted online, but it is so beautiful. I'll tell you, Sherri, like, it is a bit of a heavy book. So make sure you keep 2 kilos in your luggage space.
Yeah, now I'm going to
You can do exercises while on the plane if you want. But I want to read something from Sherri. So we have Sherri in here. So, it's hard to see. I got it better, but one of my favorite pictures.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that's the one you picked for the exhibit. So that's we're working on the exhibit posters now too. Actually, I was doing that today. But one of the things you said here is, and I just really love this, and I actually have this in a quote highlighted. Obstacles don't mean you're on the wrong path, because the reward is often just on the other side of that obstacle. That's powerful, right? Because so many times when we get an obstacle, people are like, oh, that's, it wasn't meant to be, and you definitely, I guess what you talked about, the obstacle of your ACT score, you proved that, but like, how powerful is that statement? Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I have a visual that I think about, and it's a brick wall. You're traveling along to your goal, whatever you want to do, and you encounter a brick wall, and you think, oh, okay, I can't get over that brick wall, so I guess I'm not supposed to go this way. And so you back up and you go a different path. That brick wall, if you look over that brick wall, is that beautiful grass, that beautiful place that is just over that wall. Where if you back up and take another path thinking, oh, this was the wrong way, then you've totally lost out on all that beauty and achievement that's just over that wall. And like I said earlier, this life is not a solo journey. We have other people. You ask someone, can you help me climb over this wall? And see it as a challenge. If you get over that brick wall and it's just desert, okay, then you definitely know that wasn't right. But most of the time, it's just that last brick wall that you need to conquer before you get everything.
Oh, I absolutely love that. I love that visual. Oh, you're a learner, just like I'm a visual learner. So that's really good. Okay, next time I hit an obstacle, I'm going to think about that grassy field on the other side of it. So that's great.
And
that's
being in business, there's so many times I thought, oh, okay, you'd hit brick wall after brick wall. One thing I learned is, okay, before you climb that brick wall, have a sleep. Go to sleep, have a good night's sleep, have a good breakfast. That makes your outlook look so much better. You're stronger and you are ready to go. And it strengthens you. Every little brick wall you climb over gets you stronger.
No, yep, that's true, isn't it? That's true. Yep. If we didn't have the obstacles in the way, we wouldn't be the person we are today. So, all right. One other thing that you talked about when we interviewed for the book that I just loved was, all right, Sherri calls herself and her girlfriends, and I think she has a Facebook group, the Recycled Teenagers. All right. None of us really want to be a teenager again because it was a bit of an awkward time, but it is a time where you could just be kind of crazy and funny, crazy. So tell me a bit about what is your Recycled Teenagers?
Yes. My mother-in-law, who kind of was my mother for the last 34 years, she just passed away exactly a month today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's the one, she was 92, lived a great life, but she was the one when I first married my husband who was a recycled teenager with her friends. And I mean, they were like 16. To me, they were so old. But I just remember they used to go to things and do fun things. They were just them. They weren't a wife. They weren't a mother. They were just Val. Me, I'm just Sherri. That's number one, I'm Sherri before I can't have any other titles. And so it was, a few years ago, when I was turning 50, I'm thinking, ooh, okay. When I got that drive to, okay, no more time to procrastinate, and it's time to really have fun in life and the bucket list. That's when I actually got with the daughters of the original Recycled Teenagers, and I created a Facebook group. And yeah, it is interesting, like you said, when I say, what is a memory of your teenagehood? For a lot of people, there was some very negative things that they had framed, and rightly so, but things they had framed that was a negative thing. And so I kind of challenge them, reframe that. What did you learn from that? How has that made you a better person? And and so it's just a fun group it's mainly over 50s, and just helping us just let down our hair and be grateful and do things that we used to do as teenagers.
Yeah, I think that's just great. I think it's really great, and you can be a teenager with the wisdom of what we have today. So, yeah. And we just need to be crazy sometimes. I mean, come on. Life can't be too serious.
That's right. I mean, I was as serious with the 5 children. There was times that I felt like I was 70 and I was just, no. And, they'd all be going out and I'd just be sitting there just taking a break rather than going and getting involved with the activity, the beach or things, where now I'm the one out there and my kids are saying, Mom, okay, you're a bit crazy. And it's like, I don't care. I'm making up for those years that I was being your mother and making sure you weren't crazy. And it's my time to just be me.
I love it. I absolutely love that. I absolutely love it. So now let's talk a bit about, you came in, you had your photo done, we interviewed. How did you find the process? And I wanted, and maybe what you also, I'd love maybe to tell our listeners is, like, were you afraid of being photographed? And like, how did you feel? How did it make you feel?
I had, as you know, we had senior portraits in America. And so I had my senior portrait, and that was really the only professional portrait I had other than my school ones.
Now I do have to explain this. So senior portraits in America are when you're 18 and you're a senior at high school, not a senior citizen.
Yes. Yes.
That's such a confusing thing here in Australia, because
yes, and you get an independent photographer. It's not the one at the school that's taking your school photo. You go and you do your poses, kind of like you would go to Gray and get.
Well, I'm trying to get this off the ground here in Australia. Actually, kind of funny you bring it up, but I'm going to call it the graduate, because every time I call senior here, people are like, well, my grandmother's not coming in. So I'm like, no, the graduate photos. But anyway, so that was the last time actually you were photographed, was when you were 18.
My wedding, when I came over here, I met my husband in England, came over here, and basically the wedding, we were going to get married in America, but found out that I had the wrong visa. So if I went home, we could have got married, but he would have had to come home alone, and I would have had to wait 6 to 9 months. And so we ended up at the last minute getting married in Australia. And so there went all the, and so, yeah, we just had someone, he said, oh, he has a good camera. He has a camera. Oh, yeah, it was like, anyway, my phone takes better care. And so we didn't even have wedding photos. We did have an engagement photo, but that was it. And so it was like, when this was an opportunity, I just thought, okay, I've always thought I love going to funerals because I love hearing about people's lives and being inspired. And I also love to see their photo, but I also like to see photos of them when they're younger. And I thought, okay, I need a photo for my funeral too. I needed one from a business. And so I thought, yeah. And so, yeah, my photos, one of them will be at my funeral. That will be the one on the coffin, because I want to be remembered as the young, vibrant one, not the one who was, half dead.
It is interesting you say that, because unfortunately, my dear mom, we had to pick, her photos and stuff like that. And yeah. And anyway, I said to my sisters, she doesn't really want one where she was last year. She wants, yeah. So we put one of her professional photos up of her when she was she was 60. I would say she's probably maybe 65, because my mom started late in life with her professional business and stuff.
As I say, I feel like I'm in my prime at the moment.
Yes.
So that's what I want to be remembered as.
Oh, well, I'm very honored, my dear. I hope that photo doesn't have to be used for many, 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 many years. So
that might be another angle of your marketing, is come and get your funeral portrait.
Well, I think you and your husband need to come down, and we need to do some with you guys. If you didn't have maybe we could do a reunion of the vows or something.
Yes.
Sorry, renewing of the vows.
Yeah, so that was it. And I also just had one business photo that my VA was saying, Sherri, we need another photo. And, I'm not one that likes my photo taken. So I pulled up my girl big pants, and I just thought, I'm going to trust her. You were recommended by Michelle Schur, who's a good friend. And I thought, no, I'm going to do this. And when I told my family, they're like, that seems luxury. That's like, vain. And I said, no, it's not. It's for me. I'm doing this for me. And yeah, I know. Yeah. And so I did it, and it was the best thing. And when I got there, I remember going to a chemist on the way to your house, trying to get some, not laxatives, the thing that makes you go to the toilet, because I had this formal dress that I had just bought, all these clothes. I'd just come from the States a month before. I had bought all these beautiful clothes, but because I came home to severe health issues with my husband, I kind of ate a little bit, and my formal was not going to fit. And so I'm thinking, yes, I'm going to take this diuretic right before I go, and it's all going to make me skinny. Well, it didn't, as you know, and thankfully you had some laundry pegs that you pegged up the thing. And so it doesn't matter. It's you that you're photographing, and there's lots of tricks, and they're not photographing your back end. And so, yeah, I just trusted the process and loved getting all dolled up. And
we did have a good time. That's really fun. You did not tell me that story at all. And I'm so glad you did. I mean, can you imagine if you had any problems? We'd be like back and forth. But the restroom is right next to the studio room. But anyway, it is so true. I tell people, you don't have to zip things up. We can. It's amazing what we can do. And and it's so much. You look so beautiful in those dresses, and your main picture in the book, I just love it with that blue dress. And I was so happy that you were able to wear them, because we don't always get to do that. And that might not be everybody's style, but for us ladies that like to dress up and do that and kind of glam up, it's a lot of fun. And then I have women that came in with their motorcycle helmets, so yeah, and that's a lot of fun. So
yeah. I remember when you showed me that blue photo in the blue dress, the first thing I saw was my knee scars. I had never seen a picture coming this way because I had knee surgeries as a kid. And it was like, whoa, they just kind of hit me in the face. But then I thought, no, that's me, Sherri. At first it was like, I thought, no, that's me.
And those knees allow you to do what you can do.
They do. They let me walk here and there. I mean, I'm actually waiting for knee replacements in the next year.
Oh,
But
wow.
that's me. And I'm so grateful to be able to walk.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I think, and that's another really, I learned that actually at my conference that I went to in Phoenix, that I just went back to the US for, about rephrasing the things that we might not like about our body. And someone talked about their hands, like they didn't like their hands. And she's a very famous photographer, but she goes, you know, I never liked my hands, but my hands allow me to do what I do. And now I love my hands, because if I didn't have my hands, I wouldn't be able to create what I create. You know, and like your knees, like if you didn't have if your knees, you weren't fixed when you were younger, then they wouldn't be carrying you for this long. So yeah, there's another reframing there.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I love it. And I'm so glad you trusted me, because we just had so much fun. We did. We had a lot of fun. All right. Well, we did talk about the launch. Poor Sherri won't be able to make it, but lucky Sherri's going back to America, so that's great. But we are going to we're going to zoom her in. We're going to let her see the exhibit. We're going to work on that. Before we go, we talked about so much stuff, Sherri. Is there any other last thoughts you might want to leave us with today? Or I mean, we might have covered everything. I don't know. What do you think?
One thing, and it's in regards to what I do, is it's a sad fact that women over 50 are becoming the biggest age group that is living in poverty.
Yes.
Because of, divorce, becoming a widow, and especially if the spouse took care of the finances or the partner, and then all of a sudden they have no. And so I really, it's a time where we really need to be empowered over our finances, because money makes the world go round, or it makes it go pear-shaped, and money affects every aspect of your life.
No, and it is true. We are at a, especially our generation that might have not continued with our, necessarily our career or something like that. We are a bit at risk, or even if we did, we did put, well, anyway, yes, we are definitely more at risk. So with that, how does our audience find you? Like, how's the best way to find you, Sherri? Because you are a wealth of information. And like I said, we all need Sherri in our back pocket.
Yeah, well, there's my business name, Essential Spending Planner. So I have a website, lots of information on there. I have a Facebook page, this name the same, with lots of testimonials. But then my favorite one is my Facebook group, which is Happy Spenders Beyond Budgeting, because that's what a spending plan is yes, we have income and expenses, but we add in that vital timing, which makes a dramatic difference to your financial management. And so that's just a fun group. And so that's Happy Spenders.
Now, how do you get onto that? Can we just like go on to it?
Search it. You can just search the Facebook group, Happy Spenders Beyond Budgeting.
Happy Spenders Beyond Budgeting. Okay, well, I will put that wherever you guys find this podcast, either on YouTube or Spotify. We will put all those details, actually. So we'll make sure they're all on there. Now, I think that Sherri told me that she might have a special offer for everybody. What you want to tell me about that? I'm not making that up, am I?
Yes, and it's a free offer. So I teach financial fitness. And so I have a questionnaire that will let you know how fit or flabby you are financially. And also an ebook that goes along with that can kind of educate you on how to become more fit. But then also I have a free intro course, which is Intro, a Spending Plan to Financial Peace, because that's what a financial planning does, is it brings you peace of mind, knowing that all your bills are covered for the next 12 months and you can spend happily. And so I'm offering that to any of the listeners, and just be curious. I always say, just be curious.
Wow, and that's really generous. Thanks so much, Sherri. Okay, so we will definitely. And how do we go? Is that on your website, or?
If you go to my Facebook group, Happy Spenders Beyond Budgeting, as the welcome gift to that group will be the online course.
Ooh, okay. We'll make sure that we get that in the details. Okay, great. Oh, Sherri, it was so good talking to you. So good talking to someone with the same accent as I do. Well, Sherri, what part of the US you're from again?
I was my parents' jackpot from Las Vegas. I was born
Oh,
and grew up in San Diego. And shortly after I moved here, they moved up to Utah. So all my family live up in the mountains. So
oh, wow. Okay. So we're from opposite
Yeah.
sides of the
Yeah.
US, but anyway, we still have like the same accent. And I have to tell you, I love that part of the US. Like Utah, oh my God, it's just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. Anyway, in Arizona, it was very hot, but it was very beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, very hot, but very hot. It was like a cool 40 degrees.
Yeah.
That was very hot. But anyway, thank you, Sherri. Thank you so much for joining us today. Everybody, please check out Sherri. Like I said, look at all the details where you can find this podcast, and then you can find out more about Sherri. If you want to read her story in our book, she is part of the 50 and Wiser book, and you can just go on to simplygray.com.au and pre-order your copy now. That's very exciting. They will be ready to be shipped out the end of November, or the other thing is, in less than 30 days, oh my goodness, I think it's like 30 days today, we are having the launch of the book on November 9th in Hawthorne. So it's in Melbourne. We would love for you guys to join us. Again, to book the tickets, just go to simplygray.com.au. And all the proceeds for this from the beautiful book, plus our exhibit, are going to the Go Girls Foundation, who support women at risk in country Victoria and in Melbourne. I am a huge fan of the women of the Go Girls, and once you guys meet them through the book, you will be too. And you'll just be I think you'll be really proud to be part of supporting them and part of their team. So I like to say, we can only do so much ourselves, but together we could do so much more. So together.
I'll just say FOMO alert, don't, the fear of missing out. I'm going to miss out. Don't you miss out. Go there for me, and you won't regret it, I'm sure. I'm so excited to.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, you know what? You guys all come for Sherri's, celebrate for Sherri. You definitely know we are definitely gonna have a night to remember. We just got a DJ that actually donated his services to come and DJ for us on the night, and we've just it's been really amazing what's been being able to pull together. So yeah. Well, Sherri, thank you so much, and I wish you a safe trip home. And I can't wait we'll see you in person again sometime soon.
Yes.
Thank
you
you
so much. Great.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Bloom Where You Are Planted. If you enjoyed listening today, please give us a like, love, or a 5-star review wherever you found us. Or better yet, share us with your friends. Have a great day, and remember to always bloom where you're planted. This podcast is sponsored by Simply Gray Photography.